Beverly taps a butter knife against her champagne flute while 40 people are still eating the dinner I paid for. My son built all of this, she says, sweeping one hand toward the walnut table, the exposed beams, the pendant lights above us. Evan always had vision. Nora had the good sense to marry up. A few guests smile uncertainly. She brought nothing but good taste and expensive opinions, Beverly adds, and look where that got her. Evan laughs. His palm lands against the small of my back, warm and proprietary. That morning he stood barefoot in our kitchen and asked me to cover the caterer's rejected deposit before anyone found out his business account was short. Now he raises his glass. To 11 years, he says. Beverly turns to me. Go on, sweetheart. Thank the family. I look at my husband and wonder why humiliating me costs him less than correcting her. The room has gone quiet enough for me to hear one of the caterers setting down a tray in the kitchen. I lift my glass. Thank you all for coming. Beverly waits. I take a sip. Someone at the far end of the table asks Evan about the ceiling beams, and the room exhales. He launches into the story of finding them at a salvage yard outside Baltimore, leaving out the part where I paid the invoice while he was in the parking lot negotiating an additional discount. People turn in their chairs to admire the wood. My friend Lena, seated 2 places away, catches my eye. Her mouth has flattened into a line. I give her the tiny shake of my head that means, please don't. She looks down at her plate and cuts an asparagus spear with unnecessary precision. Evan leans close. You okay? Are you? His smile stays in place, but his eyes move to mine. What does that mean? Nothing. Go tell them about the brick. The brick is his favorite story. Original to the house, hand-cleaned during the renovation, preserved because Evan believed materials should carry memory. He can talk about old brick with more tenderness than most people use when describing their parents. He squeezes my waist. Mom's had champagne. So have I. I haven't insulted anybody yet. Nora. Evan. His sister Claire appears beside us carrying an empty wine bottle by the neck. Do you have another Pinot, or did Mom buy exactly enough to make herself dangerous? The rack by the pantry, I say. Claire glances toward Beverly, who is now showing our neighbors a photo of Evan at an awards dinner. She practiced that speech in the car. Evan's head snaps toward her. What? I told her to lose the married up line. Claire, he says softly. What? I did. I wait for him to look embarrassed. Instead, he looks annoyed that Claire told me. She seems to notice it too. I'm getting the wine. Get the Willamette bottles, I tell her, not the ones with the black label. Beverly materializes before Claire can escape. She has a talent for arriving the instant a conversation turns against her. What are we whispering about? Wine, Claire says. Then ask Evan. He chose it. I chose it, I say. Beverly pats my forearm. Of course you did. Her smile makes the words sound like a diagnosis. She is beautiful in the diligent way of someone who never allows her body to surprise her. Her silver blonde hair curves neatly beneath her jaw. Her dress is dark green, simple until she moves and the beading catches the light. I helped her choose it 3 weeks ago after she sent me 14 links and called twice from the fitting room. She turns to Evan. Philip Mercer wants to see the back patio. I told him you designed the whole thing. I did design it. You drew it on a napkin, I say. I spent 6 months getting the permits. Beverly laughs as if I've made a charming joke. The practical one. Every creative man needs one. Claire uncorks the wine without leaving the room. Evan lowers his voice. Can we not do this tonight? I stare at him. Do what? Keep score. The phrase is so cleanly delivered that for a second I almost admire it. Behind him, 2 caterers carry out the anniversary cake, an ivory rectangle with sugared rosemary around the base. 11 small candles burn along the top. Beverly claps, reclaiming the room before I can answer. The cake had been her idea. The rosemary had been mine because my father used to grow it in dented metal cans behind his print shop. Evan knows that. When he sees the candles, he puts both hands on my shoulders and kisses my temple. Happy anniversary, he murmurs. The tenderness is real. That is the problem. We blow out the candles together while 40 people hold up phones. Evan's breath carries the wine I selected and paid for. His cheek brushes mine. For one disorienting moment, we are 32 again, sharing takeout on the floor of an empty house, convinced that surviving the renovation would make everything afterward easy. Then Beverly says, "Careful, Nora, let him make the wish. He's the one who makes things happen." Lena puts down her fork. I cut the first slice before she can speak. The rest of dinner passes through my hands. I find coffee filters for the caterer. I show Evan's uncle where we keep antacids. I wrap cake for Beverly's neighbor and locate a phone charger for Philip Mercer. Every few minutes, someone stops me to compliment the house. "You must feel lucky," Philip's wife says. I feel familiar with my electrician's voicemail. She laughs. Evan said the renovation nearly killed him. It missed. Across the room, Evan hears that and grins. It's our kind of joke, or used to be. His smile tugs at the part of me that still wants to walk over and slip my hand into his. Then I see him tilt his head while Beverly whispers in his ear. He glances at me, says something that makes her laugh, and lifts his shoulders in a helpless little shrug. Lena comes up beside me. My car is blocking somebody. "You parked on the street." Then somebody moved the street. I pick up an abandoned plate. "Don't." I only want to ask her what, specifically, you were supposed to thank them for. Evan's father has been dead 6 years. Claire brought supermarket flowers, and Beverly arrived with her own leftovers containers. She brought candles. "You bought those candles. I saw the box here Tuesday." Lower your voice. I am whispering with my entire soul. Despite myself, I laugh. It comes out rough. Lena softens. "Come stay with me tonight." It was a stupid toast. It was a prepared stupid toast. My overnight bag is not packed. I have toothbrushes. You have one towel. I'll buy another. We'll make an event of it. I glance at Evan. He is listening to Philip describe a possible lake house project, fully alive now, hands moving as he talks. This is the version of him I fell in love with. Alert, funny, able to make an ugly room feel temporarily misunderstood. He catches me watching and winks. "I'm not leaving my anniversary dinner," I say. "Okay?" "And I'm not having a crisis in the powder room." "I didn't say you were. You were about to stand outside the door." "I was going to bring snacks." I hand her the plate. "Make yourself useful." By 10:30, coats begin disappearing from the guest room bed. I stand near the front door, accepting hugs and compliments while people fish their keys from the green glass bowl on the console. The bowl had belonged to my father. It sat beside the register at Bell Print and Copy, filled with keys, paper clips, loose screws, and sometimes peppermints that tasted faintly of dust. After he died, it was the only object from the shop I put into daily use. Its rim was uneven, and one side held a trapped bubble the size of a pea. Evan used to turn it toward the window because he liked the green spot it cast on the wall in the afternoon. Over the years, the bowl became the harbor for our lives. House keys, car keys, the cleaner's tagged copy, the tiny brass key for the back gate, Beverly's key, attached to a red leather tassel large enough to find at the bottom of her purse. Tonight there are valet tickets, a silver cufflink, and somebody's lip balm in the bowl. I don't see the red tassel. Beverly is among the last to leave. She stands beneath the porch light while Evan helps her into her coat. "You should take the rosemary cake," I tell her, holding out the box Claire packed. "Oh, I couldn't. You brought 3 containers. For other people. You know I don't eat sugar after 8. It's 10:45. Exactly. Claire reaches around her and takes the box. "I'll eat it in the car. You'll get crumbs everywhere. It's my car." "I know, darling. I've seen it." Beverly kisses Evan's cheek, then offers me hers. I touch the air beside it. "Beautiful party," she says. "You did a wonderful job making Evan's vision feel like a home." Did I bring nothing, or did I bring the home part? Claire becomes very interested in the cake box. Beverly's expression barely changes. I was teasing. "I didn't know. You usually have such a good sense of humor. So does Evan. He laughed. Evan rubs a hand over the back of his neck. Mom, Nora's tired. There it is again. Not Beverly was rude. Not I should have stopped it. Nora is tired and fatigue has made reality difficult for her. Beverly gives me a forgiving smile. We'll talk when you're feeling more like yourself. I feel exactly like myself. Nora, Evan says. Claire opens the driver's door. Time to go, Mom. For once, Beverly obeys her. She slides into the passenger seat, gathering her coat so it won't catch. Claire puts the cake on the roof, walks around the car, then has to come back for it. Under any other circumstances, I would laugh. Instead, I watch their taillights disappear. Evan closes the door with his hip. Well, did she practice the whole thing, or just the line about me bringing nothing? He looks through the glass panel as if his mother might still be standing there. Can we clean up first? The caterers cleaned up. There are glasses everywhere. There are 6 glasses. He collects 2 from the console. Fine, let's have the fight. I'm not asking for a fight. I'm asking why you laughed. It was uncomfortable. So you made it comfortable for her. I didn't know what else to do in front of 40 people. You could have said, "That isn't true," 4 words, and turn our anniversary into some public accounting exercise? She turned it into one. She just used bad numbers. He walks toward the kitchen. I follow him past the dining table where crushed rosemary needles lie among rings of condensation. He sets the glasses beside the sink, harder than necessary. My mother is proud of me, he says. I'm aware. She talks me up. That's what she does. She erased me. That's apparently what you let her do. You want me to control every sentence that comes out of her mouth? I wanted you to control the one that came out of yours afterward. He turns, bracing both hands on the counter. His tie is loose, his hair falling over his forehead. He looks exhausted and handsome, and honestly confused by the scale of my anger. It was a laugh, Nora. It was agreement. It was nerves. You raised your glass. It was our anniversary. She told me to thank your family for my life, and you didn't. You handled it. The words stop me. He seems relieved by my silence. You always know how to handle her. Why is that my job? I didn't say it was. You just congratulated me for doing it. He looks toward the dining room. I can't do this when you're translating everything I say into the worst possible version. I walk back to the front hall. The green bowl catches a stripe of light from the kitchen. I move the valet tickets, the cuff link, the lip balm. House keys knock softly against the glass. Where's your mother's key? Evan doesn't answer. I turn. He is standing at the end of the hallway. I asked her for it last month, I say. She returned it. I put it right here. She needed to let the florist in today. The florist came through the kitchen. I was here. She thought she might need it. So you gave it back. It's a key, Nora. To our house, to my mother. The order of those words hangs between us. I touch the small bubble trapped in the bowl's rim. I asked for one boundary. She felt unwelcome. She walked into our bedroom while I was changing. It was an accident. She reorganized my desk. She was looking for stamps. She had a key to the front door. She didn't need access to every drawer. He shuts his eyes. This is what I mean. One thing happens, and suddenly, we're prosecuting 11 years of family life. 11 years. Beneath the console, behind 2 cabinet doors, sit 11 cream-colored envelopes, labeled in my handwriting. Inside them are mortgage confirmations, repair invoices, insurance statements, tax receipts, and transfers from the account funded by the sale of Bell Print and Copy. Every year I tell myself I keep them because my father kept everything. Every year Evan calls the cabinet my paper mausoleum. I open the doors. What are you doing? He asks. I pull out the newest envelope. The caterer's confirmation from that morning is on top, my name printed beneath paid by. Evan's voice changes. Nora. I look from the receipt to my father's green bowl where Beverly's key should have been. For 11 years, I have kept proof of every payment. Until that moment, I never understood I might also be keeping proof of what my marriage protected. "What is that supposed to prove?" he asks. I slide the caterer's receipt back into the envelope. "I don't know yet." "You paid a bill. We're married. Married people pay bills." "Then why did your mother thank you for paying it?" "I didn't write her speech. You financed the fiction." He gives a short, stunned laugh. "Financed. Jesus, Nora." I close the envelope but leave it on the console. "How much is in our joint checking account?" "What? How much?" "I don't know. 8, 9,000? It was 2,300 this morning, before the caterer. His face changes, though only slightly. Evan has always been good at receiving bad numbers without appearing frightened. Clients want an architect who looks as if every structural problem is merely waiting to become an elegant solution. I have 2 invoices clearing next week. "You said that last week." "And they're clearing next week." "What did you tell your mother about the house?" "Nothing." "She didn't invent all of that." "She knows I designed the renovation." "She said you built our life." He pushes away from the counter. "Are you asking whether I gave my mother a detailed breakdown of our finances? No, I didn't. That would be inappropriate." "But letting her think you pay for everything is appropriate." "I don't discuss money with her." "You discuss enough." He comes closer, lowering his voice even though we are alone. "What do you want me to say? That my practice struggled? That my wife's father died and left her money, and we used it? You want me to hand my mother that information so she can worry about me? You'd rather she despise me than worry about you." "She doesn't despise you." "She told 40 people I brought nothing. She was trying to compliment me." The sentence is so absurd I glance toward the dining room, half expecting someone else to have heard it. Evan sees my expression and flinches. "That came out wrong." "No, I think that one came out exactly right." I take the envelope upstairs with me. He follows as far as the landing. "Where are you going?" "To sleep." "In the guest room?" "I don't want your hand on my back tonight." He stands beneath the hallway sconce, tie hanging open, looking suddenly younger than 41. "I love you." "I know." That answer hurts him more than if I had said nothing. It hurts me too. I close the guest room door and place the envelope on the nightstand beside a lamp we bought at a flea market during our first year in the house. Evan hated the shade. I loved the brass base. We compromised by putting it in a room neither of us used. Sometime after midnight, I hear him cleaning downstairs. Glass taps against glass. Cabinet doors open and shut. At one point, he pauses outside my door, but he doesn't knock. In the morning, I wake to Beverly calling my name. Not from outside, from the hallway. "Nora, I'm just getting the silver tray." I sit up so quickly the old mattress groans beneath me. The envelope is still on the nightstand. I put it in the drawer before opening the door. Beverly stands 3 feet away wearing pressed cream slacks and a navy sweater. Her red leather key tassel dangles from one hand. "There you are," she says. "I thought you'd gone out." "Why are you in my house?" "I told you. The silver tray." "At 8:15 on Sunday morning?" "Marjorie loaned it to us. I promised I'd return it before church." Behind her, Evan steps out of our bedroom in a t-shirt and gray sweatpants. He looks from my face to the key in his mother's hand. "Mom." I knocked. "No, you didn't," I say. "I did." No one answered. That doesn't turn a locked door into an invitation. She presses her lips together. "I'm sorry the party was stressful for you." "The party was fine until your speech." "My toast." "Give me the key." Her fingers close around the tassel. Evan moves between us without appearing to. "Let's get coffee." "No," I say. "She can take the tray and leave the key." Beverly looks at him. I knew this was going to happen. "When?" I ask. "Before or after you practice the toast?" Claire has betrayed her with one sentence, and we all know it. Beverly's chin rises. "I tried to say something loving about my son." By saying something cruel about his wife. Families tease. Give me the key. I've had a key for 9 years. And now you don't. Her eyes sharpen. The injured mother disappears, and for an instant I see the woman who spent 30 years running the billing department of an orthopedic practice and could make a late-paying patient feel morally defective. You don't get to erase my place in my son's life because you're in a mood. I'm not taking your key to Evan. I'm taking your key to our house. It's his house, too. Evan says my name in warning. That does it. I hold out my hand and wait. Beverly looks at him again. He stares at the floorboards. Eventually, she pulls the brass key from its ring, but the tassel snags beneath her thumbnail. Her hands are trembling by the time it comes free. She drops it into my palm. The tray is in the dining room, I say. I don't want it now. Marjorie probably does. She walks downstairs. A minute later, the front door shuts hard enough to rattle the glass in the guest room windows. Evan rubs both hands over his face. You could have let me handle that. You did handle it. You gave her the key. I mean now. She was standing outside the room where your wife slept to get away from you. She didn't know you were in here. That improves it? He looks down the stairs. She's going to call Claire. I hope Claire has coffee. She does call Claire. She also calls Evan 6 times before noon. He silences the first 5 and takes the 6th in his office with the door closed. I sit at the dining table with my laptop, the brass key beside the trackpad. I remove Beverly from the emergency credit card she has used for 3 years. The card was meant for her furnace replacement after a winter outage. Once the repair was finished, she kept it for what she called household contingencies. Mulch had become a contingency, so had a new garbage disposal, 2 lamps, and a set of linen napkins for Easter. Next, I stopped the automatic payments for her electric bill and the quarterly transfer into the account she uses for property taxes. Each cancellation produces a cheerful green check mark. The remaining balance from my inheritance sits in a savings account Evan can view and access. There is less than a quarter of the original amount. Seeing the number makes my mouth go dry. I open a new account in my name and move the balance. The transfer takes less than a minute. 11 years of accommodation end with a verification code sent to my phone. Evan comes in while I'm closing the laptop. What are you doing? Separating what's left of my father's money. His shoulders go still. Separating it how? Into an account only I can access. He pulls out the chair across from me, without talking to me. You returned a key to your mother without talking to me. That isn't the same. No, this was mine before we married. We've used that account for our life. We've used it for everyone's life. He glances toward the front windows, perhaps checking whether Beverly has come back. So what happens when the mortgage is due? We each deposit half. You know, my income doesn't come in on a salary schedule. Then we can contribute based on our average income. I'm open to a fair split. My receivables are lumpy. My inheritance has been smoothing them out. You benefited from my business too. How? He recoils. You live in a house I designed. I paid the mortgage on a house you designed. It's not just the mortgage. The renovation increased the value. My work did that. And my money bought the lumber. He gets up, walks to the kitchen, then returns without anything. Movement helps him think. Usually I find it endearing. Today it makes him look like a man searching for the exit in a room he drew himself. Are you leaving me? He asks. I haven't decided. His face empties. It is the first thing I've said that frightens him more than the money. He sits again. Over a toast? Over the fact that you still think this is about a toast. For the next 4 days, Evan is almost painfully considerate. He makes coffee before I wake. He leaves the brass key in the green bowl instead of carrying it upstairs, as if displaying it might prove something. He texts when a meeting runs late. On Tuesday, he brings home Thai food from the restaurant where we had our first date. The restaurant has changed owners twice, and the noodles are sweeter than I remember. We eat at the kitchen island because neither of us wants to sit at the anniversary table. I'm sorry I laughed, he says. I put down my fork. He looks directly at me. I was uncomfortable, and I took the easy way out. You didn't deserve it. Thank you. Mom has always needed to believe I'm doing well. I know. After Dad died, it got worse. She sees everything as evidence. The office, the house, the kind of car I drive. If I tell her business is slow, she hears that I'm failing. So you let her believe I'm dependent on you. He rubs his thumb along the cardboard edge of the takeout carton. I like that she was proud. The honesty surprises me. I'm proud of you, I say. It's different. Why? You've seen everything. The unpaid invoices. The client who vanished after approving 6 months of work. The afternoons Evan lay on the rug in his office with the lights off because his chest felt too tight. The checks I wrote without mentioning them again. My knowledge makes my pride less useful because it cannot be mistaken for awe. He reaches across the island. I'll talk to her. When? Soon. That's not a day. Thursday. I'm taking her to lunch. And what will you tell her? That the toast was out of line. And he withdraws his hand. What else do you want? The truth. All of it? That question is the problem. He leans back. You want to humiliate me. No, I want you to correct the humiliation you enjoyed. I didn't enjoy it. You raised a glass to it. He looks toward the green bowl in the hall. Sunlight passes through its thick side and throws a pale green mark onto the wall. On Thursday afternoon, my phone rings while I'm reviewing supply contracts at work. I'm a procurement manager for a regional hospital network, which means people call me when prices are wrong, shipments are late, or someone has promised equipment that does not exist. Beverly's name appears on the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello? My card was declined. No greeting, no uncertainty. What were you buying? That's hardly the point. It is if you're calling it an emergency card. I was at Fieldstone Garden Center. They had the Italian planters marked down, and one of mine cracked. Then use your own card. Silence. You canceled it, she says. Yes. Without telling me. I'm telling you now. That card was for the house. Your house. Evan gave it to me. It's attached to my account. His name is on the card. As an authorized user, so is yours. Her breath becomes audible. You're making my son look foolish. How? The cashier knows our family. Then she knows you can buy your own planter. I want you to understand something. Money does not give you the right to control people. I close the contract on my screen. That may be the first thing we agree on. You're punishing me because I celebrated my son. I stopped buying things for you. You've made that distinction very convenient. Before I can answer, someone speaks near her. Evan. Mom, give me the phone. I sit back in my chair. They are together. Thursday lunch. The conversation where he was supposed to tell her the truth. There is a rustle. Then his voice. Hey, did you explain the toast? This isn't a good time. It was your time. She called me from the garden center, upset. And you went there? I was nearby. Fieldstone is 25 minutes from his office in the wrong direction. Beverly says something behind him. He covers the phone, but I hear the low murmur of his answer. What did you tell her, Evan? I told her we're working through some things. What things? Can we talk at home? Did you tell her whose account she's been using? He pauses. That is the answer. My computer chimes with a new email. The subject line reads, Mortgage transfer failed. The automatic draw has hit our joint account without the deposit I usually make from my inheritance. I open the message and look at the shortage. Evan, the mortgage payment bounced. What? We're $3,800 short. I thought there was more in checking. I told you exactly what was there. I have payroll tomorrow. So do I, in a sense. Mine just stopped covering yours. His voice drops. Transfer the money back. We'll sort it out tonight. Behind him, Beverly asks whether everything is all right. I look through the glass wall of my office at people moving between meetings, carrying coffee, folders, ordinary responsibilities. For years, I had treated every financial emergency in Evan's life as proof that he needed me. Now, for the first time, I hear what he expects when he says need. No, I tell him. You sort it out. I'll be home at 6. I end the call while his mother is still asking him what happened. At 6, Evan is standing at the kitchen counter with his laptop open and a glass of water he hasn't touched. I covered it, he says before I put down my bag. From where? The business. Payroll? I move some things around. What things? It's handled. The words are clipped, professional. I have heard him use that tone with contractors who missed deadlines and clients who discovered they couldn't afford their own taste. I hang my keys over the edge of the green bowl. Beverly's brass key is still inside it. We need rules, I say. We had rules. We had habits. Most of them involved me fixing something before you had to look at it. He turns the laptop toward me. A spreadsheet fills the screen, color-coded in muted shades of blue and gray. I started putting together our expenses. Today, I had to understand what you were doing. What I'm doing is paying bills from current income. No, you unilaterally changed the financial structure of our marriage. The structure was my inheritance. It was our safety net. A net is supposed to stop a fall. We've been sleeping in it for 11 years. He closes his eyes for a second. Do you know what happens if I pull $3,800 out of the practice with no warning? I know exactly what happens. That's why you've been pulling it out of my account instead. I have 3 employees, and you pay them. You also pay the mortgage. I do pay the mortgage. Not this month. He taps the spreadsheet. This is what I'm trying to show you. You're isolating individual payments as if they exist outside a marriage. I paid for the car. The business leases your car. Our vacations. 7 years ago, you paid for flights to Santa Fe. You remember the year? I booked them. His mouth tightens. This is unhealthy. Knowing what things cost? Keeping receipts is ammunition. They weren't ammunition when they were saving you. He walks to the refrigerator, opens it, then closes it without taking anything. What do you actually want? Starting this month, your client payments go into our joint account after payroll and fixed business expenses. My paycheck goes there too. We pay household bills from that. We each keep the same personal allowance. And your father's money stays where it is. You don't trust me. I trusted you to correct one sentence. He stares at the floor between us. I wait for him to say he will call Beverly right then. I wait for the sudden useful courage people discover when the alternative becomes expensive. Instead, he asks, "How long are you planning to punish me?" That evening, I email him a household budget. He replies at 1:13 in the morning with comments in 17 cells. We negotiate groceries. We negotiate landscaping. We negotiate whether the streaming service Beverly uses at her house counts as ours. We do not negotiate my inheritance. The family's machinery begins making strange noises without me. Evan's Aunt Diane retires from the county clerk's office, and Claire texts me on Friday afternoon asking what time we're meeting at the restaurant. I tell her I don't know. "You made the reservation," she writes. "No, I didn't. Mom said, Evan asked you." Evan did not ask me. 3 dots appear, vanish, and appear again. There are 15 people coming. Then someone should call the restaurant. Claire calls me instead. "Please tell me you're kidding." I'm at work. It's tonight. I know what tonight is. "You always handle the family dinners." That was never an agreement. It was sort of an established system. "Claire, I found out about this dinner from the invitation your mother mailed us." That was 6 weeks ago. "Yes." "And you didn't think to make a reservation?" "I thought the person hosting it would make one." "Mom is hosting." "Then Mom should be all set." Claire goes quiet. Her frustration is understandable, which makes it harder not to rescue her. She did not give the toast. Aunt Diane did not give the toast. 15 people are about to stand inside a restaurant lobby because everyone has learned that I will catch whatever they drop. "What do you want me to do?" she asks. "Call the restaurant." "They're booked. I already tried." "There's a private room at Morello's." "How do you know?" "I planned your engagement dinner there." "Can you call them?" "You can." Ask for Simon. Another pause. You're really done, aren't you? She says. I'm at work, Claire. Morello's has the room, but no fixed menu on short notice. Claire manages it. Aunt Diane gets dinner. Beverly gets to complain about the lighting, and Evan comes home furious with me because the deposit went on his card. You let them think there was no reservation. There was no reservation. You knew they expected you to make it. They also expected me to pay the deposit. They would have reimbursed us. Who? He loosens his tie. That isn't the point. It has become a very popular phrase in your family. Aunt Diane was upset. Aunt Diane sent Claire a message saying it was the nicest retirement dinner she's ever had. His expression flickers. Claire told you? She sent me a picture. In the picture, Diane is wearing a paper crown made from photocopied retirement forms. Claire's idea. Everyone looks happy except Beverly, who is pointing at something outside the frame. I show him. Evan almost smiles. Then he remembers he is angry. You could have helped. I did. I gave Claire the name. You know what I mean. Yes, he means I could have made the problem disappear without leaving fingerprints on anyone else. On Monday, Beverly calls the caterer from our anniversary dinner. I learn this because she forwards Evan an email and accidentally copies me. Her message reads, "Please correct your records. My son hosted and paid for this event." The caterer replies 12 minutes later with a revised itemized invoice. At the bottom, beneath the charges for rosemary cake, wine service, and 40-place settings, is the payment source and my full name. Beverly does not apologize. She sends a second email asking why private banking information was disclosed. I print the invoice at work and slide it into the current year's envelope that night. Evan watches from the stairs. "Did that feel good?" he asks. No. He seems disappointed, as if satisfaction would make my behavior easier to dismiss. The distance between us settles into ordinary places. We brush our teeth at different times. We leave notes about dry cleaning. He begins sleeping in his office twice a week, claiming early meetings. I stop asking whether he's eaten. Then the property tax notice arrives at Beverly's house. Claire calls while I'm in the supermarket comparing 2 jars of pasta sauce. Mom says you canceled her tax payment. I canceled my contribution to it. She says it's late. It isn't due for 3 weeks. You know that? I've paid it for 6 years. There's a shopping cart blocking the aisle. An older man apologizes and moves it 6 inches, which does not help either of us. Claire says, "Mom made it sound like you offered once." I offered after your father died because the medical bills had eaten into her savings. The next year, Evan asked me to keep doing it. Then it became automatic. How much? I tell her, for 6 years. Yes. What about the roof? Me. The electrical panel? Me. She said Evan took care of those. The transfers came from the account I inherited. Claire breathes out slowly. Does Evan know we're talking? No. Don't tell him yet. The request sounds less like conspiracy than embarrassment. 2 days later, she asks me to meet for coffee. Claire arrives late with her hair still damp and orders tea she never drinks. I talked to Mom, she says. How did that go? She asked whether you put me up to it. Then she cried. Then she said Dad would be ashamed of us both. Efficient. Claire's mouth twitches. She believes Evan was going to repay you. He has never said that to me. She says you and Evan had an understanding. We did. The money would help while he established the practice. How long was that supposed to take? Not 11 years. She tears the paper sleeve off her cup in a spiral. I owe you an apology. You didn't know. I didn't ask. Neither did anyone. That's not better. She looks through the cafe window. On the sidewalk, a woman is trying to open an umbrella against the wind, and it keeps turning inside out. Mom wants me to cover the taxes, Claire says. She called it my turn. I laugh before I can stop myself. Claire does too, one sharp sound. Then her eyes fill, which makes both of us look away. She really said that? Apparently you created a rotating position. Benefits are terrible. I declined. There is the first shift, not loyalty to me, refusal to become me. Claire rubs the damp paper spiral between her fingers. Evan's been giving her money. My smile fades. What money? He reimbursed her for the planters. He covered her electric bill through the office. She said he promised this whole situation was temporary. What situation? You being angry? I leave the coffee shop with the pasta sauce still in my bag from 2 days earlier because I forgot to take it into the house. When I confront Evan, he doesn't deny any of it. My mother called me crying, he says. What was I supposed to do? Let her pay her electric bill. She's on a fixed income. She has retirement income, Social Security, and no mortgage. You don't know all her expenses. I know them better than you do. That's exactly the problem. You got involved in everything, and now you're acting like we forced you. The sentence lands because part of it is true. No one physically made me volunteer after Beverly's first hard winter alone. No one forced me to remember the tax deadline or replace the card after it expired. I liked being competent. I liked being needed. I liked the private authority of solving what other people could not. But Evan had watched that willingness become expectation and protected the expectation instead of me. You told her this was temporary, I say. I told her we were working through it. You told me you understood. I do understand. I also can't abandon my mother to make a point. So you used business money. It's my business. And when the business is short? His silence answers. I take my coat from the chair. Where are you going? Lena's. He follows me into the hall. Nora, wait. The green bowl sits between us. My key, his key, the cleaner's tagged copy, the back gate key, and Beverly's old brass key lie inside. He reaches into the bowl, takes Beverly's key, and closes my fingers around it. I'm choosing us, he says. I want to believe him badly enough that I stay. The next morning, his full client payment lands in our joint account. It is more than he has deposited at once in years. He cancels dinner with Beverly. He schedules a session with a marriage counselor. For 10 careful days, he behaves like a man who has finally noticed the edge beneath his feet. We talk without solving anything. We cooked together once. He admits he has been afraid of letting the practice look smaller because smaller feels like failure. I admit that paying for everything let me avoid asking whether our life was actually working. He takes my hand in bed. I let him. On the 11th day, I come home early because a vendor meeting ends before lunch. Beverly's car is parked 2 houses down. Inside the green glass bowl attached to a newly cut brass key lies her red leather tassel. Voices drift from the living room. Beverly, Evan, Claire. I told you she'd calm down, Beverly is saying. Evan answers too quietly for me to hear. I touch the new key, still sharp along its teeth, then open the cabinet beneath the bowl. The 11 cream-colored envelopes are waiting in order. From the living room, Evan calls my name. I gather the envelopes into my arms and walk toward his voice. Beverly is sitting in my chair with her purse on the floor between her feet. Claire stands near the fireplace, arms folded. Evan is at the window, staring out at the empty driveway as if I might still arrive from some other direction. They all look at the envelopes. What are those? Beverly asks. The reason we're here, I say. Evan comes toward me. I didn't know you were coming home early. I gathered that. His gaze shifts past me to the hall. Mom's key is temporary. Everything is temporary when you get caught. Beverly rises. That is enough. No, Claire says. It isn't. Beverly turns on her. You told me you came here to help. I came because Evan said you two were going to ambush Nora whether I came or not. It isn't an ambush, Evan says. We need to settle this. You gave your mother a new key 11 days after putting the old one in my hand. She was already coming over. Then she could ring the doorbell. Beverly lifts her purse. I'll leave. Sit down, I say. She blinks. You wanted a family conversation. We're having one. I carry the envelopes into the dining room and place them along the walnut table. The anniversary candles left faint circles in the finish that I have not yet polished away. Evan follows me. Nora, we don't need to turn this into a trial. It isn't a trial. No one here has that kind of authority. Beverly stops in the doorway. Then what are you trying to accomplish? I want you to see what you ordered me to be grateful for. I arrange the envelopes by year. The first is soft at the corners from being handled. The most recent is still stiff. Evan pulls out a chair but doesn't sit. I know what's in those. No, you know they exist. I know we used your inheritance. Tell them how. He looks at Claire, then at his mother. It helped with the house. I open the first envelope. The down payment wire is on top, followed by the inspection, closing costs, and the first 6 months of mortgage transfers. I pass the pages to Claire. She reads the amount and lowers herself into a chair. Beverly stays in the doorway. Your name is on the house. So is Evan's. Exactly, you purchased a home together. With money from Bell Print and Copy, and my son's earning potential. Claire looks up. Mom. What? His work increased the value. Are we pretending design has no worth because it doesn't come with a hardware store receipt? It does have worth, I say. We paid the contractors who built it. Evan's jaw tightens. I spent thousands of hours on this house. So did I. Because it's your house. That was what I thought. I opened the second envelope, mortgage payments, property insurance, the emergency plumbing repair that opened the kitchen ceiling 3 days before Christmas, the invoice for lumber from the salvage yard. The third contains the first transfer to Evan's practice. He needed payroll after a client delayed payment. He had written temporary in the memo line. The fourth holds another payroll transfer, our furnace replacement, and Beverly's electrical panel. The fifth has her roof. Claire finds the invoice and turns it toward her mother. $21,000? It was 18, Beverly says quickly. There were gutters on that bill too. Nora paid for your gutters? Evan arranged it. With my account, I say. Beverly looks at him. For the first time, she seems uncertain rather than offended. He grips the back of a chair. We made those decisions as a couple. Some of them. All of them. I pull a printed email from the 6th envelope and place it in front of him. Nora, can you use the print shop fund for the mortgage again? I need to keep the business numbers clean through the end of the quarter. Beneath that is my reply asking when he expects to resume his half. As soon as Mercer pays. Philip Mercer had paid 3 weeks later. Evan used the money to hire a junior designer and upgrade the office software. I was investing in future income, he says. You were. I was investing in our current life. And that benefited you. I never said it didn't. The answer stalls him. I open more envelopes. The new water heater in Beverly's house. The deposit for Claire's engagement dinner, which she later reimbursed. 4 years of property tax transfers. Family vacations. Our mortgage during 3 slow winters. The replacement windows Evan told everyone he selected because of their sightlines. Receipt after receipt passes through Claire's hands. Beverly finally sits across from her. You kept all of this, she asks. My father kept records. For what purpose? So he knew what he had paid. No. I mean, why arrange them like this? Were you always planning to use them against us? They were in a cabinet, waiting. They were paper, Beverly. You gave them a reason. Her face hardens again. I thanked you privately. For what? She searches her memory and comes up empty. I sent flowers when your father died. You did. I welcomed you into this family. You gave me a list of changes to make to my wedding seating chart. I was trying to prevent conflict. You moved yourself closer to the front. I am the groom's mother. Claire makes a sound that could be a cough. Beverly's eyes flash. You think this is funny? No, Claire says. I think it sounds like you. Evan sits beside me. He doesn't touch me. Okay, he says. Mom was wrong. The toast was wrong. You contributed more financially than anyone knew. Contributed? Nora, say what happened. His voice drops. Your inheritance supported us, and you let your mother say I brought nothing. I apologized. You replaced her key because she thought you were trying to cut her out of my life. I took away access to a building. To her, that access means she belongs here. I look at him. What does it mean to me? He does not answer. Beverly presses 2 fingers beneath one eye, careful not to disturb her makeup. After Richard died, this was the one place I could come where things still felt normal. My son was doing well. He had a beautiful home, a business, a wife who knew how to make things run. I was proud of both of you. You told people I brought nothing. It was a joke. It was the story you wanted. I wanted my son to have accomplished something. So did I. He has. Yes? She looks at the 11 envelopes. Then why are you reducing him to what you paid for? I'm not. I'm showing you what you reduced me out of. Claire slides the roof invoice back into its envelope. Why didn't you ever tell me? Beverly answers before I can. Because people don't announce every kindness. I asked Nora. I didn't want you to feel obligated, I say. But Mom did feel obligated. No, your mother felt entitled. I kept hoping gratitude would arrive later. Beverly pushes back from the table. You offered those things. No one held a weapon to your head. You're right. Evan looks at me, startled. I offered, I say. I paid because I loved Evan. I helped you because I believed that was part of loving him. I remembered the dinners and the taxes and the furnace filters because I was good at it, and because being needed made me feel secure. I chose every one of these payments. Beverly folds her arms, and now I'm choosing to stop. You cannot call something a gift for 11 years and then send a bill. I'm not sending you a bill. The electric company is. Claire looks down, hiding another unwilling smile. Evan pushes his chair away from the table and walks to the kitchen. He returns with water, drinks half the glass, then stands behind his chair. My mother needed me to be okay, he says. You were okay. I needed to look successful. You were successful, not the way she thought. Beverly's face changes. Evan. He keeps his eyes on me. When Dad got sick, she was scared all the time. Every problem became evidence that everything was falling apart. After he died, if I told her I lost a client, she wouldn't sleep. If I said we were doing well, she relaxed. So you lied to protect her. At first. And later? He looks around the room he designed. Later, I liked it. Beverly opens her mouth, but he raises one hand. I liked her seeing me as the provider. I liked Philip asking how I afforded the renovation. I liked people thinking the practice paid for all this. Claire says, you let Mom think Nora lived off you. I didn't tell her that. You didn't correct her. He turns to me again. At the dinner, I knew what Mom said wasn't true. I laughed because correcting her would have meant explaining everything in front of everyone. And because... He stops. Because what? Because her being proud was the one thing I could give her, without it costing anything. The room goes still. I touch the edge of the newest envelope. It cost me. I know. No, you knew then. He looks away. That is the answer I needed, though it is not the one I wanted. Beverly begins gathering the invoices into uneven piles. We can correct this. Evan can tell people you handled more of the finances. Handled, Claire repeats. He can make a toast at Thanksgiving, Beverly continues. We'll host here, and he can thank Nora properly. We're not hosting Thanksgiving, I say. It's 4 months away. We're not hosting anything. She stops sorting. This house is the center of the family. It was my labor that made it the center. Then we can help more. You could have helped more last week. Beverly looks to Evan. Say something. He comes around the table and crouches beside my chair. I'll fix it. No more money to Mom without us agreeing. Full transparency with the business. Counseling every week. I'll tell every person at that dinner the truth. His eyes are wet. Mine are too. I believe he means all of it. That makes the choice harder, not easier. You copied the key, I say. I panicked. You spent 10 days convincing me I was safe enough to stay. Then you let her into the house to organize a conversation about my behavior. I thought if we could all talk. You thought I'd become reasonable again. I thought we could get back to normal. Normal is what I'm leaving. He lowers his head. I take a breath that feels too small for the room. We either sell the house or you buy out my share on a schedule we both agree is realistic. Beverly stands. You cannot make that decision in anger. I didn't. I made it when I saw the key. Evan stares up at me. You're ending our marriage? I'm ending the version where loving you requires disappearing. He sits on the floor beside my chair. For one terrible second, I want to slide down beside him and put my arms around his neck. I know the shape of his grief before it arrives. I know how to fix the next hour. I leave it unfixed. Claire takes Beverly home. Before she goes, she removes the new key from the red tassel and places it beside my hand. Beverly watches her do it. I would have given it back, she says. I know, I tell her. Evan and I remain at the table until the light outside turns blue. We speak in exhausted fragments about appraisals, accounts, and where he will sleep. He cries once, silently, pressing his palms to his eyes. I cry in the downstairs bathroom because the guest room suddenly feels too intimate. The house takes months to untangle. Evan cannot afford to buy out my share without draining the practice, and for once I refuse to become the solution to that problem. We choose a mediator. We disagree over numbers, then disagree over what the numbers mean. The receipts do not transform every payment into money legally owed to me, but they destroy the convenient story that Evan alone created the value around us. We reach a settlement neither of us loves and list the house. Beverly pays her own electric bill. Claire helps her build a budget but refuses to take over the tax payments. Their lunches become less frequent after Beverly learns that access to Claire's time also requires asking. Evan moves his practice into a smaller office with 2 employees working remotely. He gives up the leased car. His work continues, only at its actual size. The first time he tells me this, he sounds ashamed. The second time, he sounds tired. By the third, he simply says the new office has better light. The buyers love the beams. They ask whether the walnut table can stay. Evan looks at me, and I say yes. It belongs to the room more than it belongs to either of us. On my last morning in the house, the rooms echo. I walk through them once, touching nothing. At the front door, the green glass bowl waits inside a cardboard box. Evan stands in the hall holding my spare apartment key. I gave it to him during the move without thinking. Habit is faster than wisdom. He turns it over in his fingers, then places it in my palm. I'm sorry, he says. I know. This time, the answer is enough. In my apartment, I set my father's bowl on a narrow table beside the door. Afternoon light passes through the trapped bubble and leaves a green spot on the wall. I drop my key into the empty glass. It makes one clear sound, then rests exactly where I put it.